Everybody, this is Ian, and I'm recording this for those of you who are not on my email list, which is most of the folks who are watching these videos on YouTube. So here's a question that or actually an email that I sent out this morning with two questions and a really simple growth hack that I personally find myself going back to time and time again when things fall apart. So I'm going to share this with you, and I hope this comes across as important as I really think it is for all of us. It's not about a trick, or it's not about gimmicks or gurus or goofiness. This is about real life and being an entrepreneur and dealing with the ups and downs that emanate or arise from the unique challenges that we face. So for me, the two questions are, what can you borrow to build, and what can you leverage to launch? And I don't mean borrow as in money, but I do mean borrow as in resources. And I'm going to explain to you how these two simple questions have really transformed my own personal journey as an online entrepreneur, and hopefully will give you something to think about as well. So the question I ask underneath this is, who has your audience? Who owns the eyeballs or has the name cachet and gravitas in the market that you want to enter or really own? So for me, and I'll give you the background of this, when I first started working online, ezinearticles.com, which is now kind of a disgraced article directory, although they do still exist and they do still have some utility. But at the time that I first got my start, they were one of the top 300 or so trafficked websites in the world. They had somewhere around 20 million uniques a month, if I'm remembering that correctly. They were just everywhere. If you search Google for any keyword, almost universally, eZine articles would have a top 2 or 3 result. So when I first got started, I had no audience, right? So, my blog was probably one of the least 300 trafficked websites in the world. So I had to ask myself, as I was kind of adding articles to my blog every day, first of all, I'm getting nowhere. No one's reading any of this. It's a giant waste of time. So who owns my audience, right? So where are people going that I want to reach right now that I can speak to if it's not on my own blog? Now, this was before Facebook was so popular. There weren't any networks like Twitter or Instagram. None of that was around just yet, or all of that was really in its infancy, and it wasn't relevant to my needs. So I looked to ezinearticles.com, and I said to myself, all right, well, I'm going to borrow the trust and the traffic that these guys have already created for themselves, and I'm just going to write articles like crazy. So that's what I did. I started writing articles, 200, 400, 500 word articles. In the beginning, they let you write articles that were literally 250 words at a pop. So that was sort of a loophole in their system where you could write really short, keyword-friendly articles and submit these to eZine Articles and get tons of eyeballs or attention or interest in you, your brand, what you were about, and then using a resource box, which is the area of the article where you wrote your kind of call to action. You could leverage that to drive traffic back to your blog, your site, your service, your product, your program, your content, your community, or whatever. So over the years, just to keep this somewhat short, I know I'm running this long as it is, I generated well over, as of today, I think it's somewhere around 6 million views. So these are people who've read my articles. These are in pen names and different niches and products, affiliate products, but over 6 million people who read these articles just on eZine Articles alone. Over time, I started outsourcing those articles, so I would pay people to write them. There was just a whole system I'm not going to get into here. But that really worked up until the time that it didn't, right? So at a certain point, Google slapped or punished eZine Articles for low quality content because so many people were doing this. And eventually, eZine Articles stopped working quite as well. Today, in 2018, I still get traffic every day from articles that I had written 10 years ago. It's not nearly as much as it once was. greatly diminished source of traffic, but it's still, to this day, it's free traffic and oftentimes free money from that traffic because affiliate offers are still converting. People sign up for my list, all kinds of good stuff still happens by dint of that effort a decade ago. All right, so how is that relevant today? Well, guess what? There are other platforms that you can borrow that are analogous to eZine articles that you can still leverage today in ways that you can't do on your own. So, for an example, medium.com. Now, I've had bad general experiences with Medium. Like, I don't get a lot of traction on the Medium platform, but I have clients and subscribers who get thousands and thousands of reads a week by posting their stuff on Medium. Now, that is something that you can borrow to build on or you can leverage to launch. YouTube, in my personal experience, I use YouTube for videos like this one that have generated somewhere around 50,000 minutes of watch time over the last 4 or 6 months or something. I'll show you a screenshot from my YouTube account. These videos are easy to make. I can record these with bedhead, without shaving. I could be in my underwear. I could have CNN on the background. But it's just a matter of creating content and putting it out on a platform that has a much larger audience than I do. So this video will get a certain amount of views, of which, like that resource box on eZine articles, the description box on my YouTube video will get a certain amount of clicks that'll land on my opt-in page for whatever I'm building here. And I'll get a certain amount of subscribers, and I will build a certain amount of trust and rapport and relationship with you by virtue of this one video. This video ain't going to be seen a ton because it's not really interesting enough or niche enough really for that. But the videos I've done on WordPress directories, for example, business directories, have gotten tens of thousands of views and have generated tons and tons of traffic for my business and remain today a phenomenal, evergreen, and free way for me to get visitors and subscribers and fans, followers, and otherwise each and every day. So keep on asking yourself in your niche and in your market, what can you borrow to build? What can you leverage to launch? Now, the other thing that you can leverage is software. So, for an example, I use Podia, Podia.com for memberships, content, courses, email automation. My YouTube videos go to an email autoresponder that is run through Podia. My affiliate program runs on Podia. It is something I didn't have to build. I don't have to tweak my WordPress install or buy all these plugins to make all this play nicely together. I use Podia. Mighty Networks is free to start. Mighty Networks is a phenomenal social networking app that has allowed us to build a deep interest network for people who are teaching mindfulness, who are in the transformational teaching space, who are writing books, and in quotes, consider themselves enlightened entrepreneurs. You can check out our Mighty Networks private group by visiting the link below. I'll also have that in the description. ShareTribe. ShareTribe is amazing. It's a marketplace platform that for a true Airbnb style community. They've just released a new product. It's in beta. It's called ShareTribe Flex. It is it's bananas. Super nice, super sexy, super smooth. You have to see how good this thing looks to really appreciate what you can build, what you can borrow to build, right? You can borrow ShareTribe's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of technology and build an Airbnb in your niche. Go look at studiotime.io. Look at Swimmy, SWIMMY, France.fr. These are phenomenal niche marketplaces that look like an Airbnb clone that are built on ShareTribe, that are beautiful, highly functional, and super sweet. All right, so even when I find myself running out of entrepreneurial work, when I find myself out of ideas and I find my community, my content's not converting anymore, I will almost always go back to looking outside of my stuff to find a network I can network with, a platform I can plug into, a community that I can sort of creep up on and get my content in front of their audience. You can do this with guest posting. Forget about SEO. Forget about all the reasons people tell you not to do that. Any way that you can collaborate with people who own your audience is a net plus for your brand, for your books, for your blog, and for your business. What can you borrow to build? What can you leverage to launch? These two questions always allow me to move outside of the small space in my own mind and find some sort of external audience to cultivate and to connect with and to sort of wrangle up for myself. All right, it really works. It'll work for you. Think about it, find those audiences, and then just dive in and do it. All right, I'd love for you to connect with us. Facebook, The Mindful Markets, our Facebook page. That's another platform, obviously, you can borrow to build. We've certainly done that here. You can come look at our Facebook page and just see how Facebook has given me such an audience just by using their platform, ads on their platform, content on their platform, and just connection to really build something that's quite great for us today in April of 2018 and only getting better day after day. All right. Hope that helps. Hope to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching.